On October 12, 1996, two Los Angeles police officers barged into an abandoned apartment building in the Rampart neighborhood of Los Angeles. In that apartment was 19-year-old Javier Ovando. When the police encountered Ovando, he allegedly pulled a weapon. The police opened fire, striking Ovando 4 times, leaving him paralyzed from the waist down. He was then charged with 2 counts of assault on a police officer and 1 count of exhibiting a firearm in the presence of a police officer. In February 1997, he was sentenced to 23 years and 4 months in prison. It was said the judge declined a request for leniency because he said Ovando showed no remorse. Fast forward to September 11, 1999. Ovando is in Salinas Valley State Prison. He's then interviewed by investigators. Come to find out, the so-called abandoned building wasn't abandoned at all. He actually lived there. Ovando said that the officers had harassed him the day before, then the day of the shooting, knocked on his door, demanding to come in. Ovando said he was then handcuffed and shot.
Why do you think the police shot you?
I don't know.
Had you seen Perez Durden before?
One day before.
And what happened?
The next day, they shot him.
Ovando's conviction was vacated and his charges were dismissed. He was immediately released from prison. November 21st, 2000, Ovando received a $15 million settlement, the largest police misconduct settlement in Los Angeles history. The 2 officers involved in the shooting was part of the Community Resources Against Street Hoodlums anti-gang unit, better known as CRASH. This anti-gang unit was part of the Rampart Division of the LAPD. This entire department was investigated. It was dubbed the Rampart Scandal. Over 70 police officers were implicated in the scandal, being accused of police brutality, planting false evidence, stealing, drug dealing, bank robbery, cover-ups, and perjury. Some officers were given suspensions, some forced to resign or retire, and some flat out terminated, and some sent to prison. Ultimately, 106 criminal convictions were overturned.
Upon our review, we are no longer convinced as to the legitimacy of the conviction, and as such,
prosecutors are filing motions to free prisoners and overturn convictions, telling judges that in the mid to late 90s, an unknown number of LA officers lied, planted evidence, and framed suspects.
The allegation here is that the gun that was located, or allegedly located in Mr. Madrid, was in fact a plant.
There was 140 civil lawsuits against the city of Los Angeles, costing the city $125 million in settlements. In the midst of this scandal, one cop in particular was at the epicenter of the mayhem. His name was Rafael Antonio Pérez. Now this guy right here was the inspiration for the character Alonzo in Training Day, performed by the legendary Denzel Washington.
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
And also to all my gamers, you guys remember Officer Frank Tenpenny in GTA?
I run this town! Hey! Over here! Hey! Officer down!
That character was also based on Rafael Perez. Perez is originally from Puerto Rico. Born in 1967, he then moved to Brooklyn, New York in 1972, but eventually would end up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He would graduate high school and then enlist in the Marine Corps. In 1989, he finished his military service in California after being stationed there. When he joined the force, he wasted no time in establishing a tough and reliable reputation. He was then transferred to the Rampart Division and assigned to the CRASH unit. Being Puerto Rican, he was fluent in Spanish, which gave him an edge on the streets, and it didn't take long for him to go rogue. The second officer in the shooting of Ovando was Nino Durden, who eventually pled guilty to the charges of attempted murder, assault with a firearm, filing a false report, and perjury. Another associate of Rafael Perez was Officer David Mack. He was convicted of the November 6, 1997 bank robbery, where he stole over $700,000 from the vault with the help of his girlfriend, Erilyn Romero. She was the branch assistant manager at the time. After a month-long investigation, Erilyn would admit to her role in the robbery. David Mack was then arrested in December of '97. He had 2 accomplices with him, but they were never caught. Mack was sentenced to 14 years and 3 months in prison, and the money was never recovered. He would also brag about when he gets out, he's gonna be a millionaire. He was released in 2010. A LAPD detective by the name of Russell Poole accused music producer Marion Suge Knight of enlisting David Mack, along with Perez and another cop by the name of Kevin Gaines, who was actually killed in a road rage incident. These 3 cops, along with another man by the name of Harry Billups, aka Amir Muhammad, was believed to be behind the death of Christopher Wallace, aka Biggie Smalls.
I don't even think you know what you work with.
Shit, where y'all go?
I'm about to get your
No charges were filed against these men, even though there was evidence pointing at them. Retired FBI agent Phil Carson, who was on the case for 2 years, claimed it was a cover-up by the LAPD, and quoted as saying, "It was the biggest miscarriage of justice in my 20-year career at the FBI." And also, quoted by him, "I had evidence that the LAPD officers were involved, and I was shut down by the LAPD and city attorneys." He also stated Amir Muhammad, aka Harry Billups, the godparent to LAPD officer David Mack's 2 children, has been identified by several sources as the triggerman. David Mack was the owner of a 1995 black SS Impala with chrome wheels, the exact description given as the vehicle used in the Biggie Smalls slaying. Nothing would come of the investigation. In April 2002, Valletta Wallace, the mother of Christopher Wallace, Biggie Smalls, filed a wrongful death claim against the city of Los Angeles based on the evidence of Russell Poole. In 2010, a federal judge dismissed the lawsuit against the city and the officers. Five years later, in 2015, Russell Poole would die of a heart attack as he was meeting with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Kevin Gaines, who was killed in a road rage incident, would be killed by an LAPD narcotics officer by the name of Frank Lyga. Lyga was in plain clothes, and so was Gaines, when the altercation escalated. Gaines was driving a green Mitsubishi Montero, registered to Sharita Knight, the estranged wife of Suge Knight. It came to light that Gaines was actually having a romantic relationship with her, and they were actually living with each other at the time of the incident. Lyga would be cleared of any wrongdoing related to the incident, but within months, he would be under investigation again. In March of 1998, a substantial amount of cocaine evidence booked from one of Lyga's previous arrests was found missing from the Parker Center property room. An investigation would reveal that Rafael Perez was the one who actually stole the evidence, and it was believed that he was trying to frame Lyga in retaliation of the Gaines shooting. The Gaines incident, along with the missing drugs from that property room, is what would lead to the Rampart scandal, because clearly there's a lot going on, and now an investigation would be launched in the Rampart Division.
Thrown out. 11 officers have been relieved of duty. More are under investigation in a scandal that LA County District Attorney Gil Garcetti says is the most important case his office has handled in the 31 years he's been a prosecutor.
A line police officer goes to the very heart, to the core of the criminal justice system.
The scandal now tearing at the criminal justice system was launched by the confessions of a former cop, Rafael Perez. Charged with stealing and selling 8 pounds of cocaine in 1998, Perez has implicated himself and other officers in order to reduce a possible 14-year sentence.
Perez, a 9-year veteran of the LAPD, was arrested on August 25, 1998 for the unauthorized withdrawal and theft of 6 pounds of cocaine from that evidence room. The drugs was estimated to have a street value of $800,000, which is approximately $1.5 million today. Investigators then found 11 other suspicious cocaine transfers. He then admitted to ordering cocaine evidence out of the property and replacing it with Bisquick. On September 8, 1999, Perez agreed to cut a deal with investigators. Now keep in mind, up until this point, all they had on Perez was the stolen cocaine. He now had immunity from further prosecution because of the deal he struck. He then proceeded to tell it all. Over the next 9 months, he met with investigators more than 50 times and provided more than 4,000 pages in sworn testimony. That led to the suspension and resignation of numerous police officers. He testified and said at least 90% of crash officers were in the loop, and they were knowingly framing civilians and suspected gang members, and also committing perjury. He also stated that superiors were aware and encouraged crash officers to engage in misconduct. The goal of the unit was to arrest gang members by any means necessary. Perez also claimed crash officers were awarded plaques for shooting civilians and suspects. Perez also alleged officers were carrying spear guns to plant on civilians and suspects in order to avoid responsibility for their alleged crime. Perez also revealed the crash motto: "We intimidate those who intimidate others." Perez also alleged officers would get together and drink at a bar near Dodge Stadium in Echo Park to drink and celebrate shootings. Rampart officers also wore tattoos of the crash logo as well, putting on full display their allegiance to Rampart.
You gotta decide whether you're a wolf or a sheep. Get your ink.
There was also allegations that Chief Bernard Parks and members of the LAPD were actively involved in obstructing the Rampart investigation. Parks was actually in charge of the internal affairs when Gaines and other members were found to have ties to the Bloods and Death Row.
Acting like y'all on motherfucking vacation. I got Pac in the next motherfucking room. Grinding, man. Working. And y'all niggas in here partying? One time.
It was said that Parks protected these officers from investigation. He would end up being removed in 2002, which even affected politics in LA. Mayor Hahn, the active mayor of LA, would lose in 2005 election to Antonio Villaraigosa due to the black community no longer supporting Mayor Hahn because of him removing Chief Bernard Parks. The Rampart scandal rocked LA from top to bottom. In 2013, a man by the name of Christopher Dorner wrote a Facebook manifesto before he went on a shooting spree, targeting LAPD officers.
A manhunt is underway in Southern California, and the Los Angeles Police Department is under siege. 10,000 law enforcement officers are conducting door-to-door searches for one of their own, a fugitive ex-cop. 33-year-old Christopher Jordan Dorner is suspected of killing 3 people in a terrifying rampage after making claims in a bizarre online manifesto that he was unjustly fired by the LAPD and needs to clear his name. In a police department with a storied and troubled history, they have never seen anything like this before.
Dorner was actually a former LAPD officer who was terminated for allegedly making false statements against officers who he claimed was using excessive force. In the manifesto, he would mention the Rampart scandal, stating that the LAPD hasn't gotten any better, and they actually gotten worse. Rafael Perez would be sentenced in 2002. He would get 2 years in federal prison for the Ovando case and a 5-year sentence for the drugs stolen. They were to be ran concurrently. He was released from state prison in 2001 after only serving 3 years. He would only get so little time because of the deal he struck with the federal prosecutors. Today, Rafael Perez is known to be laying low and is actually believed to be a limo driver.
Rafael Perez?
Yeah, I think we should wait a little bit. Yeah.
You Rafael Perez, aren't you?
No.
Are you sure? All right, Rafael Perez.
Assholes, you never understood what I did. 50 of me, and this town would be okay. I took the trash out. I did. And I do it all again.
The Rampart scandal took place in the late 90s. Now the question is, as things change much.
Different kind of gang problem in Los Angeles County. The people meant to serve and protect a population of more than 9 million people, allegedly part of powerful gangs going back decades, according to watchdog groups and the alleged victims of their crimes. Groups of LA sheriff deputies with threatening names like the Banditos, the Cavemen, the Executioners. The deputies rep their cliques, tattooing their bodies with logos and throwing up gang signs. The gangs facing allegations they use violent excessive force against Angelenos.
To me, they're punks. The people that killed my sons, that executed my sons.
That lady talking is Lisa Vargas, the mother of Anthony Vargas, a 21-year-old who was shot 13 times by LA County deputies in 2018. The deputies stated that they opened fire after Vargas started fighting, and then he pulled out a weapon. Attorney Humberto Guizar and the family of Vargas strongly believed that the weapon was planted.
On August 12, 2018, a woman called 911 to say that her boyfriend's watch had been stolen at gunpoint. After Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputies arrived, they eventually came across 21-year-old Anthony Vargas. When he saw the sheriff's car, Anthony ran, but he tripped and fell. The deputies chased him down, and they say a fight ensued. They claimed Anthony had a gun and shot him 13 times. 10 times in the back, once in the arm, and twice in the head. A year and a half after Anthony was killed, the LA District Attorney released an investigation into his death. It found that there were no fingerprints on the gun, and DNA testing was inconclusive. The burglary victim said Anthony was not the person who stole his watch.
Guizar filed a lawsuit and tried to obtain video evidence. It was said the deputy's attorneys filed a motion to block him. In 2016, 31-year-old Dante Taylor was walking down Wilmington Avenue when he was approached by deputies, Ms. Rain Orrego and Samuel Aldama. They both said Taylor was dressed like a member of a local gang. In that area of Wilmington Avenue, near Brazil, is known gang territory, controlled by the Cedar Block Pyrus. The deputy stated they asked Taylor if he was on probation. He then said no, drew a semi-automatic stainless steel handgun, flashed it at the police officers, and then ran. The deputies actually chased Taylor on foot, eventually cornered him and riddled him. No weapon was ever recovered. LA County awarded the family a $7 million payout. Both Samuel Aldama and Ms. Rain Orrego were part of the executioner clique in the Compton station and had the ink to show it.
Now to an Eyewitness News investigation. An alleged gang of sheriff's deputies within the LA County Sheriff's Department known as the Executioners. Their alleged tattoo depicts a skeleton in flames, an AK-47, and a Nazi-style helmet. Miriam Hernandez has a closer look at the pressure mounting on the department to open their files on any groups like this.
Claimed that as many as 40% of Compton deputies are inked executioners or prospects. Rumblings reaching the sheriff.
Well, first of all, there is no gang of any deputies running any station right now.
In 2024, 4 ex-law enforcement officers from Los Angeles County were charged for an alleged $37 million extortion scheme, carrying out an elaborate fake raid on a man's home back in 2019 in order to trick him into signing away his rights in a business worth tens of millions of dollars. It's safe to say the BS is not ending no time soon in LA. The police corruption is an ongoing problem that has to be fought day to day and fought aggressively for any change to be made. And these cops need to be held accountable and on a consistent basis. The biggest reason why, in my opinion, this keeps happening and is so rampant within the police force, not just in LA, but across America, it all boils down to repercussion. These cops almost always get a slap on the wrist, even when convicted for a horrendous crime. The time is next to nothing. Until they start burying these fools under the jail, you won't see much change. But hey, what the hell do I know? Till next time.
I think somebody should write a song called F the Police.